We're in for a messy start to the new year. When you'll need to keep your umbrella handy this weekend, plus the warm-up on the way for next week.
A New Year's Eve terrorist attack prevented. What details are being revealed in this report from the Department of Justice? Specifically, what weapons a man planned to use in this attack.
And win, and they're in. The Panthers are gearing up for a season finale that could send them to the playoffs for the first time since 2017. We've got live coverage from Tampa ahead of the team's biggest game in nearly a decade. Well, the dry spell that we've been having looks to be coming to an end tomorrow. Thanks for being here at 7 o'clock on a Friday. I'm Dan Haggerty. We got to look at the radar here. As you can see, the system there out to our west, headed our way. It's going to bring a cold and wet day for us tomorrow. Kat Campbell joining us. Kat, chances for rain really ramping up around lunchtime or so.
Exactly, and that rain will be with us through the afternoon hours as well. It's light rain, not going to add up to much in your rain gauge, but grab your coat and grab your umbrella tomorrow because it's a chilly rain. That 46 may be closer to midnight, and then throughout much of the day, we're just in the upper 30s to lower 40s with the rain. Sunday, luckily, the redeeming weekend day. It is dry, it's sunny, and just a little bit warmer, 53 for the high on Sunday. If we take an hour-by-hour look at our rain chances tomorrow, we'll see rain chances go up throughout the first part of the day, but rain chances peak midday into the early afternoon. The rain should clear out of here by the evening. We start out 6 a.m. with some light rain moving in. 9 a.m. you can see this is light. I want to stress it's light scattered rain, but it does become a bit more steady lunchtime into the afternoon, and that'll clear out of here starting around 5 o'clock through likely 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. Behind this, we have a big temperature change on the horizon, and if you like warm weather, you are going to love it. I'll have more on that coming up.
Grace Holland here in the WRAL Live Center. Breaking right now at 7, we are following a police investigation in Raleigh on Capitol Boulevard, a shooting that happened near Calvary Drive around 6 p.m. this evening. One person went to the hospital. They are expected to recover. No word on a suspect at this point.
All right, Grace, thank you. An 18-year-old is accused of planning a terrorist attack at a grocery store near Charlotte for New Year's Eve. And among some of the evidence that the FBI found, knives, hammers, a Kevlar vest. WRAL's Heidi Kirk is joining us now live from outside of the federal building here in Raleigh. Heidi, this is very scary for very obvious reasons, certainly for anybody who lives in that area near Charlotte. The FBI shared a lot more about the suspect's motives, they believe, and also how they caught him.
Well, Dan, the more that you learn about the case, the more disturbing that it becomes. Right here with me, I have that report from the Department of Justice really detailing exactly how this man planned to carry out that attack. This is 18-year-old Christian Sturdivant from Mint Hill. He's the man now facing charges for planning that New Year's Eve attack. In a press conference today, the Department of Justice says law enforcement linked him to ISIS materials. These handwritten notes uncovered in Sturdivant's home detail his plans for the attack, including the very weapons he planned to use, these knives and hammers. The Justice Department says he planned to carry this out at a fast food restaurant and grocery store in Mint Hill.
Countless lives were saved here. On New Year's Eve, everyone is at the grocery store. We're all buying the things we need to celebrate, and we could have had a significant loss of life and significant injury here.
Now, the Justice Department calls this a very active and ongoing investigation. Now, Sturdivant did appear in federal court today. He could face up to 20 years in prison. Dan?
So, Heidi, the internet played a really big role in this investigation. The FBI caught up to this guy because of some of the work being done by undercover officers out of New York.
Yeah, I find this really interesting. He actually encountered 2 different law enforcement officers thinking that they were members of ISIS, sharing his specific plans for this attack and also pledging his allegiance to ISIS. They say that this was a really crucial part in this investigation.
Right. All right. Yeah, Heidi, thank you so much. We should say, this situation in Mint Hill is one of a few potential terrorist attacks that the FBI has prevented in just the last year or so. So just last month, to remind you of a few, a federal grand jury formally charged charged 4 people with plotting New Year's Eve bombings in Southern California. FBI agents arrested them, if you remember, in the Mojave Desert, where they went to build and test the explosives. You might also remember a story from October, the FBI arresting 2 people in Michigan accused of planning an attack for Halloween weekend. Investigators said the plot was ISIS-inspired, and FBI agents monitored talks about it in those online chat rooms. In May, FBI agents arrested a teenager in Oregon. They say the teen was planning to set off a chlorine bomb at a mall in Washington. Agents say the teen was talking about the plans in those online chats. And in February, the FBI arrested 2 teenagers in Texas. They were accused of plotting an attack at a school. Investigators say the plot involved guns and pipe bombs. A couple days before that, investigators arrested a teenager in Indiana. She was accused of plotting a shooting on Valentine's Day. And you might notice a bit of a common thread there, the internet. We know that the internet is a place where extremism can grow and can thrive. It's where people can go and become radicalized. But investigators clearly know that too, and they use it to stop these attacks before they can happen. All right, let's quickly roll through some of the other big headlines today. These are the 5 things you should know right now. A suspect is in custody after a chase involving a stolen van, and it ended with a crash and a fire. This is video from Richmond County. Multiple cars catching fire there in that field, and then the field clearly catching fire as well. Sky 5 got the view from above, too, as you can see here, showing us just how far that fire spread before it was contained. Investigators tell us the chase started in Moore County. Deputies tried to pull over a van on Highway 1 in Aberdeen, and then the driver took off. Charges are pending. Headingham shooting suspect Austin Thompson will be in court next week for a hearing. Monday is the deadline to file motions in that case. Thompson was 15 when investigators say he killed 5 people, including his brother and an off-duty police officer. His trial is scheduled to start in February. No bond for the man accused of breaking into a Johnston County home and assaulting the couple who lived there. Thomas Wright appeared in court in person today, as you saw. So did one of the victims, 81-year-old James Rhodes. His wife, 74-year-old Teresa Rhodes, is still in the ICU with injuries. Wright will remain in jail until his next court appearance a little later this month. UNC Health, Duke Health, and Wake Med all have visitor restrictions in place now. So the flu, as you may know, is going around, and the hospitals don't want it spreading among their patients. So children under 12 are restricted access, as well as anyone with flu-like symptoms. All other visitors must wear a mask. Clyde Cooper's Barbecue has a new location in Raleigh. They moved out of downtown and will move into the Quails Corner Shopping Center on Millbrook Road. The business had been downtown for almost 90 years. The new location opens next week with limited orders. We're always seeing new stuff pop up around our area, aren't we? We like to talk about it here at 7 o'clock. It is time for a developing story. The city of Durham would like to do something new with that plot of land that they own downtown. I'm talking about the old Durham Police Headquarters on West Chapel Hill Street. The city has spent years talking about redevelopment. We've talked about it a lot right here at 7 o'clock. But any long-term ideas that they've had really haven't gotten off the ground. And that's why the city is now looking at some short-term options, including possibly affordable housing. Here's WRAL's Monica Casey.
It's a site that is full of possibility for the city of Durham, but after multiple stalled redevelopments, city leaders are rethinking the future here. Time is of the essence for one of the last undeveloped gateways into downtown Durham. The city-owned parcel includes the historic Milton Small Building from the 1950s. That building has been empty for more than 7 years.
If we don't move quickly on the Milton Small Building, we may lose the chance to actually preserve it.
Now the city is working with nonprofit Preservation North Carolina to rehabilitate the piece of prime downtown real estate. Councilmember Carl Rist believes keeping the historic building means protecting the character of Durham.
Durham is changing, got a lot of new buildings going up, and having one that is a historic building that we can be proud of.
City Council discussed short-term options for the site last month after multiple stalled redevelopment efforts.
I fully agree with the analysis that we shouldn't advance to full site redevelopment at this time.
Council directed staff to work with an advisory group on options for affordable housing on the site, which has been a priority for the public as well.
I think it would be worth our time to do a deeper dive and explore what is possible around affordable housing.
Rist explains city ownership of the parcel makes a difference.
The land that we control is a really important sort of piece of, sort of asset we have to make sure that what happens there is exactly what we want to have happen.
In Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
Thank you to Monica. Tomorrow, the Carolina Panthers will play their biggest game in nearly a decade. If they win it, they're going to go to the playoffs. It's a rematch against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the odds makers, well, they don't seem to think the Panthers can get the job done. WRAL's Chris Lee is going to tell us why Bryce Young and company think they can. Kat?
And rain is on the way for your weekend, but not all weekend long. I'll let you know the best and the worst hours for outdoor plans coming up.
We want to go 1-0. It's the most important game of the year. That is your quote of the day, and it's coming from Carolina Panthers quarterback Bryce Young, and he's talking about tomorrow's game against the Bucs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he is right. It is their most important game of the year. Some would say it's their most important game in many years. If the Panthers win, they are in the playoffs for the first time since 2017. But the team does have one more other path to the playoffs, even if they lose. We're going to get into all of this here. WRL's Chris Lee and Pat Welter down in Tampa tonight. They just got back from the pool. They're covering the game for us this weekend. Guys, look, the Panthers, they had a chance to actually clinch the playoffs last week, but they blew it, right? And they did it. They look pretty bad. Let's be frank there against the Seattle Seahawks, though the Seahawks are a really good team. Do we expect them to do better tomorrow? Because the Bucs are slightly favored in this one.
Dan, let me introduce you to the Carolina Panthers. Their inconsistency is what's consistent about them. For the last 10 weeks, they've alternated wins and losses. So in that time frame, there's no winning streak. There's no losing streak. So if you go by trends, and if that's something that you follow, that means the Panthers are supposed to win tomorrow versus the Bucs, because this week will be their turn once again before then they lose in the first round of the playoffs, and then they'll be out.
Great points. It's really that simple, right? You win, you lose, you win, you lose. I mean, the pattern is there for you. I think probably the more pressing pattern is the one that we saw 2 weeks ago where they beat this team in Tampa. And you could argue that Seattle laid a blueprint for really how to shut down Bryce Young. But football isn't actually that simple. And, Dave Canales talked about it this week. He's like, I might expect Seattle or Tampa to kind of draw a little bit from what Seattle did with their man coverage and kind of taking everything away deep, which is kind of ironic. Like, you would think you wouldn't be trying to stop Bryce Young. You'd be trying to stop the run game. Seattle kind of did it opposite, but I would expect Tampa to use a similar game plan to what they did 2 weeks ago. We saw Bryce Young throw 2 touchdowns in that game. Just comes down to execution.
I don't know if it's you guys down in Florida or what, but the Miami Vice vibes I'm getting from the two of you right now are out of control. I think you just roll up the sleeves on those jackets. All right, the Panthers, they control. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. They control their destiny here. We talked about there being 2 paths, though, to the playoffs. So even if the Panthers do lose tomorrow, there is still a chance that they get in. But they would have to rely on another team, right? They would have to rely on the Falcons to beat the Saints on Sunday because of some crazy tiebreaker stuff. Are we confident the Falcons can get that done?
Well, it's weird, Dan, because, the Bucs and the Panthers are the teams playing for the playoff spot. But you could argue it's the Falcons and Saints that are playing the best football right now.
Yes.
The whole reason we're in this mess is because the Falcons beat the Rams, who are one of the best teams in all of football. And the Panthers beat them as well. The Falcons have won 3 games in a row. Maybe the only team playing better than them, Chris, is the Saints, who have won 4 in a row, and Tyler Shuck looks like the rookie of the year.
And also right now for the Falcons, Bijan Robinson, he's always been an amazing player. He's looking even more amazing the last few weeks. I mean, he's been absolutely turning it on for the Falcons. So to answer your question, Dan, the Falcons can absolutely win this. However, he brought up a name here in Tyler Shuck. When the Saints went to him as their starter for quarterback, their season turned around. They beat the Panthers twice. They beat the Bucs as well. So they're starting to look really good themselves. So anything can happen. But I will say, if history repeats itself, if we're looking at patterns once again, the Falcons did beat the Saints earlier this year.
Yeah, we keep talking about the odds with this game against the Bucs, and the Bucs are slightly favored, but only by a little. It's kind of the type of spread you see when teams are evenly matched. You give the advantage to the home team, and that's the Bucs, as you guys are down in Tampa. Have we seen any Carolina fans down there, to maybe give a little bit of take away a little bit of that home field advantage?
Not really. Not really. I mean, we of course, we saw some folks who recognized us from the area when we were on our plane down, and talked to some folks who live in Wake Forest, talked to folks who live in Raleigh. They say we look a lot happier on television, but of course they saw us at 6:15 in the morning on a plane, so of course we were looking a little sleepy. But we will say, though, that the Panthers fan base has really ramped it up over the last few weeks. You talk about a rapper named Carolina Mike, who's been like the new mascot for the Panthers. If you had 150,000. His song has been blowing up. He's been tossing it, making it rain all over the place. Panthers fan base has absolutely been going wild. So I'm pretty sure there'll be some down here for tomorrow's game.
All right, the boys.
We've been there in the down years as well, right? So it has completely changed the vibe, Dan. I would just say that Panthers fans are in this team. The Panthers can feel it as well.
We got the boys taking the show on the road, taking it down south for us. All right, we appreciate you guys sounding good, looking good. Go Panthers. All right, everybody at home, let us know what your thoughts are on the Carolina Panthers. What are their shots at the playoffs? Send us an email, 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. Put your head coaching hat on. Let us know what you think. Not a big football fan? That's okay. Tell us what you want to see here on the news. Your feedback drives this newscast here at 7 o'clock. Tell us what is on your mind, and we will talk about it right here at 7 o'clock. All right, Kat Campbell joining us now. Got some rain in the forecast. It's going to be a cold, kind of a nasty day tomorrow.
Yep, a good day to watch the game.
There you go.
It's one of those days where you're probably going to want to have indoor plans. It's not going to pour rain. I do want to be clear. It's going to be pretty light rain for us, and it may not get here until later in the morning hours, but there's enough rain during the day, and it's cool enough where it's not going to be a great day for outdoor plans. If you are planning on watching the game, here at home, 40 degrees with a 70% chance of rain. If you're going to make it down to Tampa, you heard them. Chris and Pat were saying we need more fans there. 73 degrees, partly cloudy skies. Sounds pretty good in comparison to a lot of folks. Let's take a look at the radar. So here's the rain. It is coming our way. It's going to be rolling in overnight toward daybreak. And by 6 a.m., we're waking up to temperatures ranging from 30 degrees in South Hill to about 40 degrees in our southern counties. It's going to take a little while, though, for any rain to make it up into our northern counties there. By lunchtime, a better chance of that. We're above freezing everywhere then. You can see temperatures just in the low 40s. It's a damp, kind of raw day out there with light patchy rain continuing into the early evening, but it starts to move out of here by dinner time tomorrow night. Still, it's going to be pretty chilly. Temperatures dip into the 30s quickly after sunset again. Rainfall totals look to be pretty light, a quarter of an inch of rain or less, generally speaking. And a live look outside tonight in Raleigh at the state legislative building here. A quiet night, but a lot of clouds in place. You're not going to have to worry about rain really ruining your plans tonight. It's not until tomorrow that we would see more impacts. But it will be cool out there tonight. Cloudy skies continue overnight. 31 in South Hill for the low. 32 in Roxborough. 37 in Durham and Raleigh. And Fayetteville, you are sitting at 41 for your low overnight. If you're headed out and about to try to get your exercise in tomorrow, maybe a New Year's resolution, I actually think the earlier you can go in the morning, the better off you'll be. You may be able to beat the rain's arrival. Just check in for an update tomorrow morning on WRAL's Morning News. Meteorologist Chris Michaels will have a radar update for you. Midday would probably be the worst time for outdoor exercising. And if you want to hold off to exercise until your Friday evening and night outside, you may be able to do it, though. I don't think that's a very popular time when people want to be out exercising. Sunday looks nice and dry, 53, mostly sunny. Once we get to next week, get ready for a huge warm up. Monday will be the transition day, and then Tuesday, we're back in the 60s. After that, we come close to 70 degrees a couple days in a row. Friday looking most likely to hit the 70-degree mark. Overall, next week is going to give us a little early taste of spring. However, 70s are actually pretty normal for our area in December. We average 1 to 2 days in the 70s per January.
I'm ready for it. Thank you, Kat. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the New Year's evening as much as we did. First Night Raleigh is one of my favorite events of the year. And after the break, we're going to go into the WRAL archive to tell the story of the city's very first Acorn Drop. Were you with us on New Year's Eve? Did you watch the Acorn Drop? One of our favorite events to cover in Raleigh. I love it. When it isn't hoisted up for First Night Raleigh, you can find it over at City Plaza. That's where we see it most of the year. Some of you may remember when the Acorn was living over at Moore Square. The city got it out of there, though, in 2016 so they could renovate the park. We want to share a story now with you that we found in the WRAL archive from back in 1992, the year that the city first put that acorn in Moore Square, the year of the very first acorn drop. We appreciate you being with us here on WRAL News, especially here at 7. Have a great weekend. We want to leave you with this right now, your Friday moment of nostalgia.
After considerable discussion and debate, this is now the home of the great Raleigh acorn. It occupies a prominent place in Moore Square among the squirrels that scurry around below it looking for real nuts. The acorn journey began Sunday when its creators towed it to the Fayetteville Street Mall. Then the acorn was the star of the show as an estimated 20,000 people jammed the mall for the first night celebration. But what do you do with a 1,200-pound copper nut that its creators say is the biggest acorn on Earth? One plan that was discussed was to put the acorn right here in front of the BB&T building. As you can see, crews have carefully prepared this hole. But a spokesman for the bank told me that the acorn planners didn't want to show any favoritism towards any one institution, so the acorn was moved to the park. But not before several other options were discussed. Another idea was to keep the acorn inside the Civic Center so it could be easily delivered outside for its New Year's drop. Finally, work crews fashioned an 11-ton base in Moore Square, and the acorn has a home. What do you guys think of the acorn?
I mean, it's different. I know that much. It's really different.
Well, this is the first time I've seen it sitting here other than on the videotape.
What do you think?
Well, it's pretty. It's different. It's definitely attention-getting.
John Watkins came up with the idea and is known as the father of the acorn. He's confident that he started something.
We hope we have established a tradition that will live for at least the next 200 years in Raleigh, and that this will be pulled off of here, taken back to the mall, hopefully put on some big pole or tower, much like they have in New York, and we'll drop it every New Year's and start it off the way it should be.
Mark Roberts, WRAL TV5 News, Raleigh.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.